One to Charlie.
Christmas birthday.
Everybody, just not it was nothing. You've got a Jeep.
They're off a Dodge WC.
Yeah. People just generated things. Everybody had different. If there's 3 Jeeps around there, none of them were the same.
Yeah.
Everybody in different ways.
So I'm trying to work out whether they were done in service or whether they were done.
Right. Well, Eddie might know.
No mamy, wszyscy.
One careful. The other hand in the accident.
Take your beer off the seat.
That's what it's for. It's a beer shower.
But it comes up to like £50,
be a German tank in front of you. It made life very, very difficult for the advancing forces. So, 6 days ago, on the 6th of June, 150,000 Allied troops landed on the beaches of Normandy, on Gold, Juno and Sword beaches, with the troops from the United Kingdom, France and Canada. On Utah and Omaha beaches, with a force area where they overlap, and that is where we are now. As you can see, the German defenders who are trying to stop the Allied advance are very well positioned. They're laid out in depth. There are as you can see, ahead of these pre-prepared positions, because the Germans were falling back, they've had a chance to prepare.
There was a cop car sat in the middle of harbour, just sat down the back.
Yeah, the show's gone this way, I tell you. £1.50 around there, knocking them out.
Sportage of these grenades, mortar and machine gun fire. Allied infantry moving across to the centre trench. An utterly elegant and beautiful shape taken to the skies over Cotsby. Spitfire Mark 14, later versions of the Spitfire. Rolls-Royce had of course developed the 27-litre V12 Merlin engine that powered the early marks of the Spitfire. But by the time it was fitted to the Mark 9 with a two-stage supercharger, it was getting up to around about 1,700 horsepower. And Rolls-Royce realised that a bigger, slower revving engine would be a much better prospect. Joe Smith, the lead engineer and design leader at Rolls-Royce, has started work on a 36-litre V12, and that's what you're listening to now. This is not a Merlin, this is a Griffon. Really astounding aeroplane. Armament on the Spitfire 14 had settled down to what was now standard 4 20mm cannon. You can see that the famous elliptical wing on this aircraft has any level. Forest Asia markings instead of the red, white and blue randle you traditionally see on Royal Air Force. First version of the Spitfire with a Griffon engine. You really see just how fast that roll rate is for a Spitfire. It's interesting that the requirement for the Griffon engine wasn't actually from the Royal Air Force, it was from the Royal Navy. They were looking for a more powerful engine for two-seat aircraft such as the Fairey Firefly, in service in large numbers at just about all altitudes. Now the initial response was to put the 66 series Merlin with a two-stage supercharger into the Mark 5, call it the Mark 9. Typical British lash-up. So they put the big engine in the front and great big lead weights in the back to balance out the aeroplane. But that became, believe it or not, the most produced version of the Merlin engine Spitfire. The introduction of armoured plate, most German aircraft and most Japanese aircraft. And machine gun bullets quite often wouldn't seriously damage some of the aircraft that were in service then. So they were replaced with the full 20mm Hispano cannons you see on this aircraft. That was the real genius of the Spitfire design. It wasn't just that it was a brilliant fighter design. Being improved. I'm afraid our Yak 3 has had to divert into Bicester Airfield with a rough running engine. So fortunately Bob's safe on the ground. So we won't be able to bring you that aircraft today, hopefully tomorrow. But just getting airborne, the next item on the display. A fascinating aeroplane this, because it's a fascinating history. Oster and Taylorcraft started work on these aircraft. Piper as well. They were known as AOPs, Air Observation Post, and they were flown by, without doubt, some of the bravest and certainly some of the best pilots in the war. If you ever read Spike Milligan's book, Rommel Gunner Who, you can find out he wasn't impressed. Piper Cub, they turned it into a military version, the L4 Grasshopper. Taylorcraft and Oster built the aircraft such as you see here. This is an AOP 6. Now you can see at the meant that certain high-ranking officers, colonels and generals and all the rest of it, suddenly realised they had a very, very localised air taxi. And that's what they also got used for. They got used for ferrying senior officers around and occasionally taking senior officers over the advance, over the battlefield area, so you can actually see what was going on for themselves. Fighter, the utterly fantastic Hawker Hurricane. It's really weird, there's a lot of myths. Aircraft lays claim to winning the Battle of Britain. It was the Hawker Hurricane. Just over the runway now, it's stablemate if you like. Supermarine Spitfire, this one, a cannon shell could pass right through it, or a machine gun bullet, without hitting anything. They were incredibly tough. And the aircraft were available in numbers to replace the Hurricanes in service. The Hurricane had already done the job. good, my eyes did not deceive me. That is a Mark V. Merlin 45 series, producing 1,150 horse in that particular mark of the Spitfire. And the Mark V was the first one designed from the outset to take the 20mm cannons. I tried putting them on Mark IIs earlier, but unfortunately, because the things were lying on their sides, they tended to jam. So the cannon on Mark II was never a success. The wing on the Mark V was designed from This aircraft carries no bombs, carries no guns. And yet is described by Winston Churchill as one of the aircraft that won the war. And he's absolutely right in that, because in warfare, amateurs talk about tactics and strategies. Where the Allies